Let me tell you something. As long as the requirement is for me to lay on my back and open my legs, a man will never be the prize.
The prize is whoever's in demand. There, we solved it. Congratulations. Subscribe. Let's talk about it.
Let me tell you something. As long as the requirement is for me to lay on my back and open my legs, a man will never be the prize. Because the requirement is my life. Okay? The requirement is my energy. The requirement is for me to make time for you. I run a whole company. Okay? So if I have to make time for you, if I have to schedule you in, if I have to alter my life, you will never be the prize. And I know my worth so much. That is why it's not about, oh, why can't Kendra get a man? No, honey, why can't a man get Kendra? I ain't never trying to get no man, honey. You got to get me, because I am 1000% whole, good, and thriving. And I am proof that this notion of without a man, you will not be happy. That is the brainwashedness that they want women to feel, because they want you to feel like, oh, you have everything but a man. Thank God. Like sometimes you should say thank God to that prayer. See, a woman, when she really knows her worth, she knows what she brings to a relationship. So you can't manipulate her giving that greatness to you because you think you great. I think the hell not. You ain't got enough money in the bank for my life. Your penis is not big enough for the sacrifice for my life. There ain't an access you can give me that I cannot get on my own that is worth the sacrifice of my life. And that's just a fact. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just telling you what I know. And I've known that my entire life. My life represents that like it's non-negotiable. You can see it now. But when I didn't have a pot to piss in, okay? When I had nothing but a dream and a hustle, I had that same mentality. So you're never going to get the advice from me. It is better to have a man than not to have a man. You're not getting that advice from me.
I think that's an interesting notion. I don't know why you would actually run a singles show if that's your point of view. The fact is, right, that this feels good. This sounds good. And, I'm going to agree with some of the stuff she's saying. Yeah, you don't need a man to be happy. Right? You should disabuse yourself of that notion quickly. You don't need a man to be happy. Whatever constitutes happiness in your life, you can derive that whichever way you decide. That's not on us to say. It may be a talking point that people like to use because we understand, generally speaking, for most people, it's better together. We understand when we choose to be by ourselves, we are choosing probably not the most ideal way to go. I think most of us would trade being single, being alone, with being with someone if it was right, if it was good, then we would say, yeah, I'd rather be this. The issue we have with some of the other stuff she's saying, it's when it comes down to who's the prize, it's whoever's in demand. And like hiding behind the fact that you run a business, you have money, and then therefore these guys don't have enough. Therefore, again, you run the single show. So you should be a little more well-versed in some of these ideals. Because you're rich or because you're successful isn't a detriment. You see rich and successful women being married all the time. When you put this back on men and say that it's something that they are just failing to do, it's because if I have to lay on my back and I put her life on the line, I'm not really sure if she's referring to childbirth, if she's just referring to having sex. But when you put that as the alternative, when you make this seem like this is such a thing I have to risk, therefore none of you guys are worthy, none of you guys make enough, none of you guys have a penis big enough, none of this is worth it. Yeah, we'd believe that if you had no history of any type of relationship. If you were just like, yo, the minute I realized this, I said none of you are worth it. But what happens a lot of the times with us, and this is genderless, when we aren't able to attain the thing that we're desirous of, now we end up coping. Now we end up saying, I never wanted it. Or it's not worth it. When deep down, it's the very thing we want the most. Now, I'm not speaking for Kendra. I'm not speaking for anyone, but surely, right? Surely, if you're saying that you're the prize, surely there are men richer than you that would say, yes, this is the prize. This is what I want. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Kendra, where have you been all the time? Well, you're kind of in the normal consciousness because of the show, because of some of the things that you said. You were just on Essence, at the Essence Festival. So even then, there's no rich man coming and saying, you know, hey, what are you doing here by yourself? What are you doing alone? You should be with me. This is why it comes across as cope. This is why this talking part comes across as disingenuous. Telling men that, hey, none of you guys qualified. That's why I'm single. Because there's not a man that's good enough for me. There's not a man here that I don't outman. Surely they are. Surely there is. And they simply say, I don't want that. Whenever you lead with the money, with the business, with the I'm so valuable because I do things that we traditionally ascribe to men and call men valuable for all the time on the dating shows, for all the time interviewing people, from all the time of trying to set people up, for all the times of being in that space, on the radio, on podcasting, wherever, Kendra still purports the idea that because of her actual financial success, this is what keeps her leagues and above of other men. Granted, that's fine. Right? Again, you know, we don't sit here and tell people you shouldn't want what you want. But when the masses have said, your job is, for men, your job is not really critical to me. It doesn't make you more attractive. All men really need is for you to be able to take care of yourself. Right? You can sustain yourself. Great. Perfect. When you lead with the money, when you lead with, I have the business, therefore you guys aren't rich enough. This is what men tend to talk about. That this notion that because you've done this somehow makes you better, a better catch. No, the attitude becomes a bit insufferable. This is why you're not surrounded by people that are doing as well or better than you, looking to court you seriously. This is why it becomes difficult. This is why it becomes, hey, okay, there's just Kendra over there. She's proud and happy to run her business by herself. We will leave her just like that. Then there's an actual thing about your age. You're 50 years old. Men are saying, men of again, there are richer men out there. And if this is what you're saying that they would want, this is why you were such a catch. Why have they not been beaten down the door and saying, this is what I want? The same thing, we can take Kendra out of it. The same thing with some of our most beautiful celebrities from the early, from the 90s. You see so many of them single, but they have the success. They had the eye. People were known in them. People looked at them. Surely there's other people in those spaces that are rich and powerful and do well. They could go and say, hey, why? There's no reason for you to be single, Taraji. No, we've loved you forever. Why would no? What it comes down to, there is still a missing link when men are telling you what it is that is attractive for them. You hear it and then you dismiss it and you say, well, I'm going to do things that I believe is attractive, that I see as attractive, that I see as noteworthy. Therefore, I'll become what I want to attract. But the equation never really lines up. It's never been balanced. Men have told you all the time, hey, these are things that are important to us. Because we have the habit of not listening to the men or listening to the men and then telling them what they just told you about themselves is wrong. Let me tell you how you really feel about this. I know you said you're upset, but let me tell you that you being upset is not you being upset. Here's a real reason why you think you're upset. Men are looking like, no, I said my piece. I said what it was. We just have gotten to the point, and women are completely famous for saying this. It's really popular right now, saying, yeah, I'm not going to settle, rather be by myself. That is not a feminine statement. That's one that's held by a lot of people. A lot of humans are saying that. A lot of men as well are saying that. They're saying, yeah, you rather be alone. Yeah, cool, me too. When we have a growing mass of people saying that, I don't seem to say, what's the issue? If no one wants to be married, no one wants to be in a relationship together, then why are we still complaining about dating in itself? Let's clear the field and understand all that's going forward is situationships, is short-term, maybe mid-term, long-term relationships. That's it. We can stop saying no. When an older woman gets to this age, late 50s, mid 50s, or just 50s in general, you see a lot of the conversation becomes, well, I never needed a man. You never see this when people are actually in healthy, happy marriages. They're very much understanding that I need my partner. I need my partner. Again, promoting a dating show in which you can't seem to listen to both sides and see what is being talked about. You can't apply that to your own life, or at the very least, there's no humility in it and saying, I'm trying my best. It is difficult for me to find someone on this level to date. Men, we would accept that. We would understand that wholeheartedly. I get it. You're successful. You're looking for someone that's on your level or above. Yeah, the more success you enjoy, the more difficult it becomes. I can see their plight. I can understand that. I don't qualify because I don't make what you make, but I do wish you the best. Instead, the rhetoric is that, I'm the prize. If you're the prize, why is no one trying to actually win you? Listen, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on the screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now and you have not subscribed, I think you should. Just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.